Hey guys, welcome to my channel. It's Kat of Kat's Culture Counter, and I wanted to talk. I had a video that was on a different or other channel, and I got a lot of pushback from people saying that I didn't know what I was talking about when I started off the video talking about my personal experience with my family and their support of Trump. And first of all, this is my life experience, so I know what's going on in my life, and I should be able to talk about that. But the main crux of it was the fact that there was a lot of people still supporting him, even though they were black or brown. And to me, it just made no sense. Now, there's a recent thing that came out that says over 80% of Trump voters still support him. So people saying, read the room. So does that mean the rest of the 15% is black or brown? I don't think so. I think that people are still holding the line with support, because it's funny because when people talk about Democrats and like we're we're all this cluster and we're a cult and we just vote for the Democratic candidate. The thing is I consider myself liberal, and I will vote for who the best person is. If the person came wrapped up in a Republican package, I would consider it, but that hasn't happened. It just hasn't happened. And so it is Republicans that, no matter what kind of destructive, cultish, nonsensical, not to their best, in their best interest thing that is happening, they still will support the party. And I just don't understand it. I just don't. Explain it to me, because just considering the fact that the candidate that they support, or the president that they support, he went bankrupt 6 times. He ended up owing all kinds of contractors. He owed his workers. He was convicted of over 30 crimes. Adjudicated rapist. All of these things that just is recent. Never mind the fact that he has always been a Hitler supporter. Look it up. He idolizes Hitler, and he has been racist for decades. And with this recent Supreme Court ruling that, I was watching, the Hubster and I were watching different YouTube videos, and they're talking about the fact, I'll give you a few of the people that were watching, Paul Lance, Brian Taylor Cohen, Primrose Permaculture. There are a few, not Rational National, maybe sometimes, but there's some people that it's not their name, but they have their channel, and we've been watching them, and the fact that they're talking about the recent Supreme Court decision that I just mentioned, and I was watching where the justices were talking about, because they talk about the shadow docket. Now, if you're not familiar with that is, it's basically, because they will do the regular way. They come and they do their it goes through the system, and it usually takes a long time. But they can do a request, which is part of the shadow docket, and they don't like that people call it that, where they can say that it is kind of an emergency, it's life-threatening. So, if someone's on death row and they're going to be put to death, and they need to have the decision quickly. And it's been used by Trump so many times. You look at it through recent times, and oh my God, using it for these decisions to come through, where you're thinking about, so Roberts, he's been going after the Voting Rights Act. He was put in by Reagan. He's been going after the Voting Rights Act since he's been on the Supreme Court. You think about all of the bad decisions of that Roe versus Wade, the trans out of the military. What business is it of theirs? If someone wants to serve in the military, and is not trying to get out of it because of bone spurs or whatever, they should be allowed to do it, right? So you think about that. You think about the Supreme Court with their decision of Citizens United that brought in this floodgate of money into the political system. You think about I'm trying to, because I had it in my mind about, the grant system for students, where your other countries are, you can go all the way up through doctorate, and it'll be free. And the U.S., people go into debt 6 figures trying to get their higher education. So it's like thinking about the access to grants. Okay, you listen to him talk about, we don't have money for health care, for child care, but we have all this money for war. So there's all of these things that I'm going back to, because I'm just like, how can anyone that looks like me vote for a person who wants to take us back to the supposed time when America was great? There's a gentleman that I screen recorded his speech. His name's Tom Weiss, and I tell you, he puts it better than anyone else I know. I know he puts it better than me, because I get on here and I start rambling and I forget what I'm going to say. It's crazy for my 10 minutes. And he just talks about it, and it is so concise and so like anybody should be able to understand when he's talking about race relations through the decades in this country. And the fact that this country is only 250 years old, we're a baby compared to some other civilizations. We are babies, and we're already imploding. And it's like, come onto the scene, doing all of this, like bigger than life. Like, I'm not gonna kowtow to, the British. I'm, Tea Party, Boston Tea Party, all of that stuff. We need to be, doing our own thing, and then they use people that were stolen from their homeland to build their country, build the wealth of their country, and make it where 250 years, and then you think about the Voting Rights Act, 50 years. Can't even stand. Y'all think about that. A country that's 250 years old, 50 years, and they're rolling it back. And these states, immediately when hearing the Supreme Court's decision, they turn around and start redistricting, gerrymandering. Supreme Court says racism is no longer a problem. Racism's gone, and using it based on race. The Voting Rights Act came about through blood, sweat, and tears. And it came about because it was needed. And the thing about it is still needed. If you say that racism is not present, you are not paying attention. If you say that racism is not present, it means you've been biding your time, waiting, because the Confederate racist fuckers that have been in this country for this long have been waiting for this time to make it where black and brown voters aren't going to be able to have a voice. Women are not going to be able to have that voice. You think, okay, when was it great? It's the only race that has had it where it was at all great. And I'm sorry, but the poor white folk were not having it until they became like the henchmen of slave owners. They weren't poor. The poor white people, police force, it started a police force, that was how it started. Hunting down slaves. That's just how it started. And you think about the fact that for someone that looks like me truly saying that it was great, the only way that it can be great is if everybody has health care. Everybody has access to higher education. Everybody has access to a place to live that is decent, healthy environment. When everybody has the ability to get that job. And it's funny because they did a whole thing where they like flushed out anything that appeared to be I'm thinking about Doge, and I'm just like, that's a whole nother video. But anything that sounded like it helped a minority, it helped a person of color, they're weeding through, and they're like, as far as grants and things, they're just nullifying them. And I just, it really, 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 really upsets me, maddens me, and makes me feel like that there's no hope with the country. But the thing about it is that you don't have to stay. If the U.S., oh my God, I saw this video where there's some young people and they're saying they want to be, like, they don't want to be around. Like, I'm talking about unaliving themselves, and they're talking about that, and they've lost the will to live. And hearing these young people say this, I'm like, oh my God, you don't have to stay there. If the U.S., if you've got a skill set or you want to study more, there are other countries that would be happy to have you. Don't think that the U.S. is the end all be all. If they are not looking out for you, you need to look out for yourself. And if you need to reach out to me for assistance to try and help you find somewhere to land, reach out to me. I will do my best to help you. Because you are worthy to be around, to be healthy, to be fruitful, and live the life that you were born for. You're entitled to that. Don't let some racist asshole in a southern state, don't let some fucked up politician that is like owning the really toxic AIPAC badge, don't let them dictate where you should be, what you should do, and what your future holds. Just think about that.